How's it going, movie and TV fans? Welcome back to another review on the Film Nerd Reviews channel. And today we are finally taking an in-depth look at the 25th film in the James Bond franchise, No Time to Die. Now, this movie was released all the way back in September 2021 after a fuck ton of delays, originally being scheduled to be released in April 2020, before that even scheduled to release in 2019, but it wasn't going to meet that deadline because it was filming in 2019. It was fully scheduled to release in April 2020. The trailer dropped over 2 years ago now, and it was the first film of the pandemic to be delayed, so it's in a very interesting position, and as of the recording of this video, it's set to hit Blu-ray, DVD and all home media formats on the 20th of December 2021. I'm recording this on the 17th because my 4K Ultra HD Steelbook version of the movie arrived today. So I'm filming this review now. I can tell you I have seen this movie a total of 8 times at the cinema, and a 9th time it's playing in the background as I record this video. I'm just going to basically read from my Letterboxd review, so if you've already read that Letterboxd review, don't be watching this, but I will add bits here and there that I've picked up over the time of, seeing the movie so many other times. But to start with, just before we go into any further into the video, I just have to let you know, if you haven't seen this movie, which probably won't be too many of you by the time this video comes out, but if you have not seen this movie, big spoiler warning. There are huge spoilers I'll be discussing much later on in the video. I will again say that when those big chunks happen, but I would advise you, if you want to go in completely clean, to turn this video off now and wait until you've seen the movie and then come back and check out my review. Okay, so appreciate the watch time, but please do go and watch the movie before watch this review. Thank you so much, and without any further interruptions, let's get into it. So first I just want to get into the basics of what I think of this movie so far, just to start off. There's a lot to discuss, so we're going to go bit by bit, and starting with, I think, the cast of characters and how the movie uses that cast of characters. And I think the best way to describe it is that a lot of the characters are either underutilized, or just not there properly. Most particularly characters the one that pops into my head immediately is Paloma, who we'll talk about a bit later on. But she has one 10-minute scene, she kicks ass, she's fucking brilliant, best character in the whole movie, and then she's gone. She's just gone. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of characters that are introduced. I know that's the thing that happens in a lot of Bond movies, and has happened in a lot of Bond movies in the past, but with this one in particular, they introduce a lot of characters and then they shove them off quite quickly. Paloma's a good example, but the other ones, such as Primo, Valdo, there's so many characters they put in, take them out, put them in, take them out again, which, to be fair, is something that many Bond films have done before. But another good example of that is Logan Ash, another character that they put in, put out, and I suppose he changes throughout the movie. But like I said, it's just one of those things where the characters just aren't always 100% there. I mean, I hope there's a spin-off based on Paloma, but I hope there will be, and I imagine there most likely will be, because considering the audience reaction to her character in the movie. I think the movie as a whole serves as a great ending for Daniel Craig's Bond, and I think one of the most important parts of that, and one of the parts that stands out the most with this film, is its musical score, its original motion picture soundtrack, which this time is composed by the one and only legendary maestro that is Hans Zimmer and crew. I do own this soundtrack on vinyl twice, on cassette, and I've got it on CD. I also have it, yeah, I have it that many times, and it's one of my most listened to albums of the year on Spotify. So yeah, I like the music in this film. Let's just say that. We'll talk more about the score later on, but first I want to get into the action and the visuals. So the action, the visuals are literally there. They're 100% brilliant. I do think that visually this is a fantastic movie, and I think the action sequences are on point as well. There's some great terse and important action sequences in this movie that really show off Daniel Craig's ability as Bond, and I think that's definitely where this movie shines, is showing him as the action hero character that he is. And I think that's really the stunt coordination and the choreography here are brilliant. The Cuba scene where they're all fighting together, that's one of my favourite action sequences in a Bond film. I think it's brilliant. Obviously I've seen Paloma fighting as well with Bond, and that's really cool. Yeah, it's just, again, the action and the choreography is so solid here, and I think that's one of the highlights of the movie, in my opinion. There are a few characters that actually have a longer stints in the movie than I thought they were going to have. Characters like Primo, and Logan Ash and Valda, all characters that are in there a lot longer than I thought they were going to be in there. I thought they were going to be 5-minute characters fucked off, specifically Primo, because he's in there for loads of scenes, a good chunk of the movie, at least, an hour, split up over different parts of the movie, obviously, but he's in there for at least an hour of this 2-hour and 43-minute runtime, so that's pretty cool, especially probably for the actor portraying him as well, which is pretty mad. But I think Safin is something that needs to be talking about, and we're going to talk about Safin right about now. Safin, listen, Rami Malek is a top tier actor, and he gives it his all here, and it's really obvious that both him and Craig have some serious chemistry. There's the scene where in Safin's lair where they're both talking to each other, and I think it's great. They clearly have great chemistry. They clearly know how to work the script in the right ways, and I think that's pretty fantastic. But I just think it's just, he is just underutilized so much in this movie, so much in this movie. He is underutilized like fuck, man. He really is. And spoilers here for a little bit about Safin's death, just spoilers, so do turn off now. But he gets shot. He basically, the way he dies is he gets shot 3 to 4 times by Bond, and then he just dies. So I think it's something that could have been improved on. And I think, obviously, most villains go out on this big bombastic death of falling into their thing, or, flying off and blowing up and shit, but he just gets shot a couple of times. It's just it's not as engaging, and I think he was promoted as someone who, be all and end all, and I think, I was discussing it with a couple of, I've seen this movie with lots of different people, and the last time I saw it, one of the things we were discussing the most was, I think I brought up is times in the marketing specifically. There's a lot of times where he says I think there's a dialogue line he says where, your skills will die once you die, my skills will live on long after I'm gone, and the context to that and what he actually means is never fully explained in the movie. He just says it. All of us thought it was like us Bond fans speculated that he was like cloning and stuff, and that's what he meant by that, but he just says it, and it just makes no fucking sense in the movie. And I think that's an issue where sometimes there are things that weren't fully utilised or used properly. Like a lot of people thought Safin was going to be Dr. No and stuff, which you can see how that the costume is quite accurate, the disfigurement is accurate as well, and so is the lair looks quite like it, so you can see where that was going, but it wasn't. They set it up and they just fucked up. But I think the most thing that pissed me off the most is that line where he goes, my skills will live on long after I'm gone. I mean, what the fuck does that mean? It makes no sense for him to say it. And another thing, I know one of the people I saw it with was really complaining about was the nanobots thing, but if he's watching this, he knows exactly what I'm talking about, so yeah. Like I said, it's just that most Bond villains go on this big bombastic note, and like I said, the whole thing with him saying that line makes no sense. I think it could be improved on in areas, but here's another part to talk about. The climax finale is actually quite fun. I say fun, that's not the right word to use. It works. Okay, the climax works, and I've said this so many times to so many different people every time I come out of the movie, even the first time. I don't care how anyone else looks at it. If you have your opinion, that's fine, but I'm just saying, I will say this time and time again, and I mean it, time and time again. I will just continue to sit here and say that Genuinely, I don't care how anyone else looks at it. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care how... I've said it numerous times, I'll say it again. I don't care how you look at it or what perspective you come from. The only way that Craig was ever going to leave Bond... Now, here's big spoilers, by the way. Big spoilers. So, seriously, this is your last warning. Turn this video off now if you don't want to be spoiled for the ending of this movie, of No Time to Die, okay? And I don't care how many... You can express your opinion all you want to me. I'll have a debate with you as much as the next person, because I love having a good debate about this movie with people, and I will sit and have a conversation with you. But at the end of the day, my strongest point that I will make about this movie is that I don't care how you put it. It doesn't matter with the context, the story, the script, anything. It doesn't matter how you put it. The only way Craig was leaving Bond for good was if they killed him off. Because at the end of the day, if he didn't die in this movie, he could be coaxed back into another one. But because he's dead, you can't coax him back. No matter how hard you try, the only way you can coax him back is by saying, well, I've learnt this thing from the Marvel movies, is that unless you see a cold, dead, stone dead, bloodless corpse, no one is ever really dead. But I think with Bond, it's meant to be... There's no way anyone could survive that blast anyway. But I'm saying the only way Craig was ever going to leave Bond was killing him off. It's just a fact. It's factually what I think about that whole situation. You know, I think... And I think, like I said, it was the only way to do it, and it was perfect. It was so well done, and it was so well built up, and the score and the build up to it, Final Ascent. Now, here's a little story I want to talk about to do with this, to do with Final Ascent, the track itself. Now, when the track list was first revealed, which was quite a while ago, by the way, in 2020, way before the movie came out, I had, I don't know if anyone else had these theories, but I had two separate theories. It was, I had my theory. One of these theories was actually correct. The other one was very, very, very wrong. But one of the theories I had was obviously I saw the track name Final Ascent. So one of my theories is that obviously in the trailers you see the shot of him dodging the grenade and throwing it back up again. And I thought, well, one of my theories was that A, Final Ascent means he's climbing up this big tower and fighting the big bad Safin at the end. Or B, Final Ascent means, because I listened to the soundtrack preview and it was a very sad sounding piece of music. So I thought that the B theory was that Final Ascent meant we watch Bond die and we watch him ascending to heaven, which is just the most ludicrous thing I have ever came up with in my entire life. I'm so glad I was wrong about that, because that is the most cringe, the most fucking cringe shit I have come up with in my life. But I just had to tell that story. It was a funny story. I think, you know, I'm so glad that wasn't the case, but the ending worked. Now let's talk more in depth about the score to this movie, the original motion picture soundtrack by Hans Zimmer. Specifically the use of the On Her Majesty. Obviously there's a lot of callbacks here in the soundtrack of this movie, and the biggest one is the use of the On Her Majesty Secret Service theme by John Barry, and We Have All the Time in the World, which is also used. You're hearing the On Her Majesty Secret Service theme here now, and it's great to see him, Hans Zimmer, use that. But he also uses another theme as well, an Arnold theme, the Vesper theme. When Bond visits Vesper's grave, you hear the Vesper theme kick in, and I think that's really brilliant. And that's one of the things I love about Zimmer, using all these different themes. He's obviously someone who cared a lot about making music for this movie, so yeah, that's brilliant. I do love the score though. The tracks that I like the most are Back to MI6, Square Escape, Mantra, and Good to Have You Back. I also like Final Ascent as well. But obviously when talking about talking about music for this movie, we have to talk about Billie Eilish's title song, and I love the title song for this movie, No Time to Die by Billie Eilish. I'm not playing it in a video because that will get my video blocked immediately worldwide, because they do that with that, but not with the other music. So yeah. Anyway, if you want to hear my full review of the No Time to Die original motion picture soundtrack, I will link that video in the description below. It's available on the Film Nerd Extra channel. Please do check that out. I put a lot of effort into that video. I had to re-edit it because they literally blocked it for putting the gun barrel at the beginning of the video. So please do check that video out. It's one I think is one of my better soundtrack review videos, and there's more soundtrack reviews coming soon, I assure you, including Ghostbusters Afterlife and Spider-Man No Way Home. So yeah, but Um, I love the Billie Eilish title song. I think it's one of my favourite Bond songs, and it is, and it really is. It's one of the few that I know the lyrics. Well, I say one of the few. It's one of the quite a lot of them. I do know the lyrics to quite a lot of them off by heart. Another one of my goals by the end of my life. But one of my goals is to know the lyrics to every single James Bond theme song off by heart, and I'm nearly there. So that's good fun. It's been good fun to, do. But. Another thing which we need to talk about now is Daniel Kleinman's titles, which is they've always been brilliant. His titles are fucking fantastic, but here there's something else. They really accompany the song beautifully, and I think one of my favourite parts of it is the beginning of them, where you see the dots from Dr. No, which is really a really cool thing to put in there. I love it. I think seeing the DB5s fall down, the daggers and stuff, it's very, very, very cool. It's one of the things where I've wanted to see for a while how he was going to do it for this film, and that's really fantastic. Here's another thing that this film, it was a film that met my expectations. It lived up to all of the hype. It lived up to all the delays. It was a brilliant movie. I can't really sit down and watch it again for a couple of years, well, at least a year, because I've seen it too many times now. But I'm happy to talk about it as much as the next person, But I think one of the things I dislike about this movie personally is the over reliance of killing off characters just to tie things up. Obviously, but big spoilers here. In this film they kill off Felix Leiter, played by Jeffrey Wright, Ernst Devon Blofeld, played by Christoph Waltz, and then James Bond, of course. So I think it's just killing off the characters to tie things up, and I think you could have just, done without it. But hey, it also works in like I said, tying things up, so I suppose it is very accurate at the end of the day. But overall, it's just a fantastic film. While it's not Craig's best, that's definitely Skyfall. Fucking fight me, I don't care what you say, because Skyfall is better than Casino Royale. Fuck off. Well, it's not Craig's best. It's certainly better than Quantum and Spectre, but that doesn't mean Quantum and Spectre are bad films. I think every single one of Craig's films has something good about it, and I think here it's the emotional level of this movie is fantastic. But I also think, like I said, the action and the cinematography and shots is fucking brilliant. Overall, I mean, I enjoyed the film. I hope everyone who's seen it enjoys it too. I think, like I said, it does have some lack of character development, but what it does have is it has a real abundance of really well shot action and really well edited scenes, as well as fantastic visuals, and a pump action score. So what more can you want at the end of the day? Again, there's a few things that I have my opinions of. I don't think Léa Seydoux is the best character in this movie. The script doesn't give her much to work with, unfortunately. She's just, in this case, not the damsel in distress. That's not. No, I'm not. She's not that. She's really not that in this movie. But she's just there. Another thing to talk about really is the kid. It was a big theory going on before this movie came out that Bond dies saving the child, and while that's not what, like, he doesn't die saving the child, he does have a kid and he does die, but he doesn't directly die. Like, the theory was he would die, like he would like jump into like a vat of acid to save the kid, something like directly die saving the kid, whereas here that's not what happens particularly. But I do think that the kid actor is quite good in this movie. She does a great job, I suppose, and it's just an interesting plot thing that I would not have seen coming personally. And I think, as a whole, there's some things definitely need to work on. The script has quite a few issues that are there in places. I can't lie, but for a movie that was sat on a shelf for upwards of nearly 2 fucking years, it is a very good movie. It's a very well made movie at the end of the day, and I think everyone should definitely give it a try. It's not for everyone. I will say that the opening scene in Norway is just not my cup of tea. I find it quite boring. I tend to skip over that sequence. When it gets to Mantra is when it starts really getting going. That opening car chase in Mantra is fucking brilliant, by the way. Seeing that DB5 all bruised and battered up is really cool to see. I think performance-wise, Daniel Craig is on top form here, as Bond, as he always is. I really do like Nomi as well. I think Nomi's a really, really quite under... people seem to think she was going to be some fuck-off annoying character, but she wasn't. She was good where she needed to be, and she wasn't, obnoxious or in the way. She did what she was meant to do, and I think that makes her a good character. And I think Lashana Lynch does a great job with this role. The script gives her so much to do, and she really just bites it all up. And I do like that the feistiness of her is really, really cool, and sort of the cockiness, I suppose. But I just also want to talk about Moneypenny and Q and M and Tanner. They're all the MI6 staff are great as well. I think Q is his best here that he's been in anything else, and I think Moneypenny seems off in this movie. It's nothing to do with Naomi Harris. It's just, I think the script wrote her differently than she was written in the other movies, and I think that's a bit... Obviously, this movie had so many characters, so obviously someone had to be put to the sideline, and obviously, juggling around and stuff. There's very limited scenes with M, with Tanner, and with Moneypenny and Q. But, at the end of the day, it's still really fun to see Moneypenny back in these movies. But just before I sign off, the last thing I want to talk about is that this movie has such a unusual amount of humour to it. Like, it's really funny. When I was watching it for the first few times, the audience would react brilliantly to all the perfectly timed jokes. There's quite a few jokes in the movie that really land well, and I think the humour written into the script is brilliantly. I don't know if it was written into the script or ad-libbed by Craig on set, but there's some really funny moments in this movie that I think the humour is top notch. It's very much, I was saying this to one of my friends, and this isn't like an insult to the movie, it's actually a bonus thing. It's very much Roger Moore level humour, which really brings, a new side to Daniel Craig's Bond that we haven't seen before, that Roger Moore style humorist, and I think that's brilliant for this specific movie and this specific version of Craig's character. While Craig's character has remained consistent through most of it, here is where he changes quite a bit, and I think that's for the best, personally. As a whole, like I said, the humour's really well sat in this movie. I think Logan Ash is another character in this movie. I think he's a bit dickish, bit annoying, fucking idiot. There you go. But I just have to admit, Paloma, aside from the fact that she's fucking badass, everyone I saw this movie with came out of the cinema saying she was the highlight of the movie, because she is. We all knew she was going to have one scene going in because, well, at least, I'm saying Bond fans, but we all know she's only going to have one scene going in because in the trailers they showed most of the stuff of hers that was seen was that single scene. So it's a shame that she had a single scene in the movie, but it was without a doubt the single best scene in the entire fucking movie, and I can't wait to see Ana de Armas reprise that role in a later film and or TV series. Would be fucking brilliant, because her character is fantastic. She kicks ass. She's so brilliant. It's a fantastic sequence, and I think, I just wish to see a character come back in a spin-off TV series or anything like that. But No Time to Die, I just want to end by really, talking about the road, the journey to this movie, because I think, like Iron Man said, part of the journey is the end. So I suppose, And one of the more fun parts of a movie is the journey from announcement, filming, announcement, pre-production, filming, post-production, marketing and trailer release, the build up to release in cinema, a few months in the cinema, release on home media, and then the movie's done. And that entire life of a movie usually tends to last about over 2 years, maybe a year and a half at a minimum. But with this movie, that entire, from start to finish, lasted from nearly 2015 to the very end of 2021. And I think, while by that I do obviously mean, if you want to talk about pre-production, that's most certainly 2018, 2019 at the minimum, and then add the 2 years on for COVID. It's been a long, and especially for Hollywood these days, where sequels can be pumped out in 2 years' time, to have to wait, even without COVID, or even without COVID, even without COVID, and the movie was supposed to come out in 2020, it still would have been 5 years between the release of Spectre and No Time to Die. Add another year onto that, it's been 6 years since the last Bond movie. So us Bond fans have been waiting a long time for No Time to Die, and I know a lot of the fans don't like this movie. They think it ruins Bond, they think it destroys the franchise. I disagree. I think it shines a new light on the character in a different way. People say it ruins Fleming's version of the character. I don't think it does, because I think it really changes the game, and it opens the door for the next actor to do something more accurate to Fleming. Or even though I was very accurate to Fleming, it opens the door for the next actor to do something even better and more brilliant. And I think that's what makes overall this movie as good as it is. And like I said, that journey from release to to now, to today, where the DVD, like, that when I first opened the package, I was just like, this is the end of that journey, the journey that started all the way back in 2019, even before that, 2018, when there was, that journey started. The journey to this day started when they announced Danny Boyle was directing it and stuff like that, and then he dropped out, and then the composer dropped out, and then they started filming and stuff, and then Daniel Craig did something, I can't remember what it is. That journey started then, and that journey has ended here today with me holding the Blu-ray in my hand, and I think that journey has been one of the most incredible journeys in personally in my life. It's been something I've been there every minute of the way. I remember where I was when the first trailer dropped. I was in school, I was in science, and I had my phone, literally just before that lesson we had the break, and we all knew it was dropping in the science lesson, so we said to ourselves, in fact not even that, no, we knew it was dropping during the day, so I was in the science lesson just refreshing the page waiting for it to drop, and I had my headphones in, because the teacher allowed us to have headphones in that day, so I had my pods in, and I was listening, I was watching this trailer, and I was thinking, this is a landmark, this is a moment, this is an important moment in film history. And it was, I still remember that moment to this day. I was sat in my science classroom with my phone on the table, watching the trailer for a James Bond movie, a moment I didn't think I would experience ever again, having, at least for a while yet, because, my first Bond movie I saw in cinemas was Skyfall. I was there for the Spectre and stuff, so it was, when I saw Spectre, that was my first year. And just to put this in perspective, I started high school the year that Spectre came out. I am now in the second year of college, and No Time to Die has only just come out. That is how long a huge part of my life has been left without Bond, in a time when maybe I might have needed it more than ever. I still had all the old ones, but what I'm saying is that's a huge chunk. 6 years is a long time, and I think, personally, I enjoyed every second of this movie. I think, I'm going to say this because I've said this before to other people, but one of my more emotional moments in the movie wasn't when he died. It was seeing those white dots roll across the screen at the beginning, and that music build up, and seeing something I hadn't seen for 6 years in front of me was so special. I nearly, a tear dropped out of my eye just to see those white dots scroll across the screen and hear that music kick in, and then see the him walk across, was just such an impactful moment for me. And I know it's a little moment, but it just felt so magical, And on that note, thank you so much for watching my review of No Time to Die, the newest film in the James Bond franchise. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to check out all the other stuff. And bye bye for now.